Yo guys, what is going on? Blossom's back and welcome back to another episode of Top Drives. Now yesterday I was streaming and a nice soul came on and was like, "Oh Blossom, thank you so much. Your videos have been so informational and it's helped me out progress throughout the game." And me being a little bit self-aware, I kind of, at first I was like, "Oh, thank you. This is a very nice comment. Thank you so much." But then it kind of hit me. I was like, wait, he's a brand new player. He's thanking me for informational videos. And I was like, wait, I know for a fact that the most recent informational videos that I have made on Top Drives have been geared towards the more advanced player, right? Like, what is the best RQ49 for Ocean Beach Slalom? Do you know? Do you know? Did you watch my videos? Do you know? The answer is the Hyundai Tucson. But like, I was like, wow, it's been a while since I've made a video geared towards like the newer player, informational tips and trick kind of video. So I've done this before, but I'm gonna do it again. What are some beginner mistakes in Top Drives? If you're a beginner, don't make them when you're watching this video. If you are a more advanced player and you're watching this video, kind of ask yourself, how many of these mistakes did you make when you started playing the game? Now we're going to start off with the easiest one, the cardinal sin of Top Drives. Okay, the number one beginner mistake: do not sell the McLaren 12C that you get from finishing the first campaign that you ever get when you beat Legrand on Monaco. Do not sell the McLaren 12C. This is the biggest meme in Top Drives, or one of the biggest memes in Top Drives. I sold it for 10 ceramics. My little brother sold it for 10 ceramics. My bigger brother sold it for 10 ceramics. My little sister sold it for 10 ceramics. My dog ate it. Whatever it is. This is the biggest thing. Don't sell your McLaren 12C. Don't. Just don't. This is going to be the best car that you're probably going to get for quite some time, especially if you are a new free-to-play player that can't open carbon fibers out their butt. This is going to be the best car that you're going to have in quite some time. So this is a car that you want to utilize and keep. So please do not sell your McLaren 12C. Now, I've seen some people say that another thing that people shouldn't be doing is selling the epic Mercedes. This one will open an entire new can of worms, and that will kind of bleed into more advanced tips. So I'm not going to talk about it too much. So I'm going to keep it simple. You can decide what you want to do with this Mercedes. I don't think it's a cardinal sin to sell it like some people do think, because I sold it. I have no regrets. I've sold it on my second account, Gawams. I have no regrets. There are pros, there are genuine pros to selling the CLS, because unlike the McLaren being a useful car and probably being your best car for quite some time, the CLS is not going to hit those heights. And the main thing to that is because, like I said, this boils to a more advanced question, because this is a rear-wheel drive center tire car, and you're always going to get more value out of a four-wheel drive center tire car. So you are better off waiting to get a four-wheel drive center tire ultra rare, maxing it out, and you'll get more value from that as a newer player than you will ever get from an expensive epic to upgrade as well. So I'm just going to put it right here. If you're a brand new player, go, make your own decision on this one. I don't think there's a right or wrong. I mean, I do think there is a more right option, and I do think selling it will get you more positives. But like I said, this is just a bonus. This is a bonus. Don't sell the McLaren. You can choose what you want to do with the Mercedes. Now, moving on to the next thing that I want to talk about is going to be about notifying and understanding your track sets, okay? So obviously you have your opponent. That's the first thing that you want to look at. The second thing that you want to look at is the type of tracks that you're coming up against. Twisty circuit, quarter mile, twisty circuit, okay? So that kind of stuff. Know what cars and what track sets you're going to be putting in. And then you want to know the surface as well. So over here, never overlook this: asphalt, snow, asphalt, okay? When it comes to snow, you gotta run your off-road tires. When it comes to asphalt, it's better using your performance or your slick tires. And another thing to take into account is also the weather. So here we have sunny conditions, here we have wet. So always remember, standard tire cars are for the wet asphalt, performance tire cars is for the dry asphalt. When it comes to off-road situations like snow, sand, ice, you want to go for those off-road tire cars. Now, I do want to go for a slightly better representation, so I think we can go into Japan, because this is where we will see some medium ground clearance icons. So as you can see, this little thing over here, this triangle of the bump, honestly, newer players nowadays, you have it easy, because back then we didn't know what cars required medium ground clearance and what cars did require medium ground clearance. So just pay attention to this right here, this triangle. If you see this triangle, then you need to use a car with medium ground clearance, and you can look for that when you select your car. You click it again, you turn it around, and over here it will say ground clearance. It will either say low, medium, or high. High or medium, they're both going to clear the speed bumps, but you don't want to run low. For example, my SCG over here has a low ground clearance tag. So just always pay attention to all the information given to you. Another thing that Hutch tends to do is they tend to highlight what they perceive to be the most influential stat for every track set. So for example, City Street Small, look at my stats on my cars over here. See what's highlighted, the 4.0, the 1.7, the 2.5. So it's kind of Hutch's way of telling you, oh, 0 to 60 kind of matters here, you know. And then we move on to City Street Small, and the main things that are being highlighted is my drivetrain as well as my tire type. So as you can see, the performance tires on my Atom, my SCG, and my Fiat, on these three cars, the performance tire part is not highlighted, but this one, the all surface tire one, is highlighted. So you can use that as extra support to help you select the right car to use. Okay, so I feel like a lot of people kind of overlook that highlight stat thing. So that's another thing to think about. So that's a couple of beginner mistakes done. Let's move on to the more complicated stuff. So this is a little bit more complicated, but you're still gonna need to know this as a beginner player. Okay, there are three main ways to upgrade your cars in top drives. We're gonna start with the easiest one to digest, and that is drag spec. Known as 332, also in 996, this focuses on top speed in 0 to 60 and it neglects handling. So think about it this way. You can use it on track sets which have barely any or even no turns. Think about Test Bowl, think about quarter mile, think about 0 to 100. What are the best cars to drag spec? Well, Dodge is a really easy one. Your Challengers, your Chargers, Holden the Fijis, Monte Carlos, Mirror Roadsters, CLK DTM. Think about what all of these cars have in common. They don't handle very well compared to other cars within their RQ neighborhood. Out of the 8 cars I'm showing you here, none of them has more than 84 handling, but they have high top speeds and low 0 to 60s, or good MRA, which is a hidden stat that a lot of newer players may not know. What is MRA? It stands for mid-range acceleration, and it calculates your acceleration from a car's 60 mile per hour to 100 miles per hour. Okay, so things like the Charger RT may not have a good top speed, but it has good MRA and a low 0 to 60 for its RQ. So you got to think about that. Okay, cars that are meant for the drag, high top speeds, low 0 to 60s, or you can go into Top Drive's records to check out what their MRAs are going to be. Those are the best cars that I would upgrade 332 or 996. So if you're a brand new player, you get a new car, kind of ask yourself, how good is the handling? If the handling doesn't look that good to you, more likely than not, it is probably better to drag spec the car. Now, moving on to the more complicated stuff, we are going to begin with 233 699. Okay, so 233 focuses on handling and dry asphalt. You want to, so when you make the decision, when you want a 233 or 699 a car, you're also consciously making a decision that this car that I'm going to upgrade is going to be used exclusively on dry asphalt. Okay, not only on dry asphalt, but on more twisty scenarios. Think about twisty circuit, G-force, hairpin, not even hairpin in some situations. Epic's and above hairpin, but ultra rare 323 still might be the way to go. But twisty road, twisty circuit, fast circuit. Okay, so things with turns that are dry, that are asphalt. Now, it might seem like this is a very niche tag because you need a lot of things to go your way. You need a track set with turns, you need it to be dry, you need it to be asphalt. But here's the thing. Another beginner mistake that people don't know is that not all track sets and top drives are created equal. You're going to see more dry asphalt twisty stuff than anything else in the game. You're going to see a couple of drags here and there as well, but they're always going to be dry asphalt. You're going to see more dry asphalt than anything else in the game. No matter what event, no matter what campaign, you're going to see more dry asphalt than anything else. Not all track sets are created equal in top drives. Seriously. The ratio of off-road events to on-road events to wet events is not 30-30-30. It's not 33-33-33. the majority is going to be skewed towards dry asphalt. So that makes 233 even more powerful to have as an upgrade, or even more useful. It does neglect drags, but that's why 332 is an option. Now, one thing to remember if you want a 233 a car is you need to make sure that the car is rated B or higher, and it has either performance or slick tires. So some really good examples would be the Caterham JPE, the Dodge Viper ACR, McLaren Senna, mainly the high-end stuff that isn't obviously meant for the drags are cars that you want to go 233. So now we've talked about the dragsters, now we've talked about the higher end performance and slick tire cars. How about everything else? Everything else is going to be on our final tune, 323, also known at 969. So this is the most confusing one on where to 323 your cars. If I had to put it this way, to make it simple for the newer player, it can get more convoluted when you get more advanced, but I'll keep it simple for now. 323 is reserved for all cars rated F to C that are not meant for the drags, okay? So not like the Charger, for example. 323 is for all cars F to C. 323 can also be used for cars B to S if they have off-road tires, standard tires, or all surface tires. So like I said, 233 was reserved for performance and slick, so that are ultra and above. So if you have an ultra to a super to a legendary that doesn't have slick tires or performance tires, you are going more often than not 323 than 233. The other thing to talk about is four-wheel drive. So for example, the Mercedes-AMG GLE, I would go 323 because it has all-surface tires. Although it's a legendary, although it's high performance, it has all-surface tires. The Ford Focus, although it's on the upper echelon of super rare, it still remains a super rare. I'm gonna go 323. Opel GTC. Now this is an interesting one. Why will I go 323 on the GTC? Well, the thing is, for any ultra rare that is four-wheel drive, any ultra and above that is four-wheel drive, you gotta ask yourself another question when you want to upgrade this car. Do you want to use it for the dry, or do you want to use it for the wet? Like I said earlier on, 233 is meant for dry asphalt. If you want a car that does better majority-wise on the dry, whether it is four-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive, you want to go 233. But if you wanted to do better on the wet, like a fast circuit wet, a twisty circuit wet, you want to go this tune right here, 323. Ginetta G40 GT5 is another interesting example because it's rear-wheel drive, it's slick, it handles very well. Why would I 323 the Ginetta G40? Here's another thing that you need to think about, okay? The 6-second rule, okay? So if the ultra rare has a 0 to 60 of more or equal to 6 seconds, personally, I would go 323. If it has less than 6 seconds, I would go 233. So that's another thing to think about. So like I said, 323 gets a little bit confusing, especially within that ultra, the super rare ranks, okay? So the Ginetta G40, I would go 323 because it has more than a 6.0 0 to 60. Some other cars that I would 323 would be your off-road GT4 because it has off-road tires, and of course the Mustang, the Integra, and the Conquest because they're all below the ultra rare rarity. So that's a lot to think about. Now, the next thing, a next big beginner mistake. Four-wheel drive is an illusion. It is. It provides no traction or handling bonus on dry asphalt. Now, earlier on I was saying that the majority of the tracks that's in top drives that you will encounter is going to be dry asphalt. So cars that perform better on dry asphalt are naturally going to be higher regarded, not higher rated in terms of actual top drives ratings, but higher regarded by the players because those are the cars that you're going to use more often because those are the tracks that the Hutch likes to use more often, which means that you'll get more wins with cars that excel better on these track sets, right? So four-wheel drive is an illusion. I think a great example, a great learning moment for me and top drives was 2019 February Camaro ZL11LE finals. I did not own the Porsche 911 Carrera that you see over here, but I did own these legendaries. I own the 911 Turbo. I own the 911 Turbo, the 997 and the 996, not 996, sorry, 991, and I did own the Porsche 911 Turbo as well. G, I believe that's G, is that G? I'm not sure. But anyway, you would would think that these cars would be better than the Carrera, especially if you're a brand new player like myself, because I'm just like, oh my god, it's a legendary. A legendary's going to be an epic, right? That's 92 rated for a reason. That's 75 rated for a reason. Obviously, a legend is going to be an epic. And if you're not blind, you would realize that the Porsche that I was coming up against in that final did handle better than the 911 Turbo, than my 911 Turbo, right? Because I had this at like 1 star, so that was like, what, 94, 93 handling, whatever it was. But this was 99 handling. But then I was like, oh, okay, but this had 3.3 of a 0 to 60, and I had like 2.7, you know, like it was way lower. Like, obviously, like, maybe I handle less, but I might make up for it in 0 to 60 because there's a 0 to 60 difference. And also, I kind of trusted Hutch. I was like, there's no way that my legendary rated so far higher than this epic is going to lose to the epic, because there has to be a reason why the Porsche 911 Turbo is rated a lot higher. Here's the thing, 4-wheel drive is actually an illusion. Cars tend to get higher RQ just because it's 4-wheel drive. Think about it as 4-wheel drive privilege, okay? Like, cars just are, they just get higher RQs because they're 4-wheel drive, and it's stupid. It's really stupid. So in the end, I actually lost the final. I did not get the Camaro 011 LE because the Porsche 911 rated 75 was running circles around my 78, 86, and 92. Seriously, it's absolutely crazy. 4-wheel drive is an illusion. If you get a 4-wheel drive car, you shouldn't be as excited as if you got a rear-wheel drive car. And it brings me to my next point. Hutch is absolutely terrible with RQ. Do not trust in RQ. Trust in yourself when you play top drives, okay? For example, you got 2 legendaries. You got the Jaguar F-Type, you got a Lotus 311. They're both 87. So immediately you would assume, oh, wait a minute. They're rated the same means they're going to perform. No. Don't tell yourself that. Just because the cars are rated the same doesn't mean they're going to perform equally to each other. One is significantly worse. The Jaguar F-Type is so much worse of a legendary than the Lotus 311. That's why I said you cannot trust the 4-wheel drive. 4-wheel drive is an illusion. The only reason why the F-Type is 4-wheel drive and it's on the same RQ as the Lotus 311 is because Hutch thinks that 4-wheel drive is a benefit because you can use it on multiple track sets. For example, the F-Type is more versatile compared to the Lotus. Yes, you can use the F-Type on dry, you can use the F-Type on asphalt wet, but the Lotus, although you can use it on dry, it's going to suffer a lot more on the wet. That being said, it doesn't matter because when you race, you're racing on one track set. One. What matters is the one track set that you are racing in the moment. It doesn't matter how versatile your car is and how well it can perform over multiple track sets. No, it's down to how well it performs on one track set. You either win it or you lose it. So yeah, Hutch, they're really bad in terms of balancing. On top of that, these 2 Lamborghinis, I mean, they're both rated RQ50. Doesn't mean that they're equal. The SV is way better than the S. It's got a lower 0 to 60, a higher top speed, better handling, and better MRA. It's all in all a better car. So why are they the same RQ? That you might be asking yourself if you're a newer player. It's because Hutch is absolutely shit at balancing their game. Seriously. It's because they don't want to change the rarities of cars. That, you know, when newer cars come down in RQ, the older cars stagnate. You know what I mean? So the Miura and the Miura SV, they never were the same RQ when they first came into top drives. One was 53 and one was 51. But the problem is, since Hutch doesn't want to change rarities in the game, everything's gonna just go down to rock bottom for each RQ, for each rarity, right? So the rock bottom for ultra rare is 50. So even though the Miura doesn't even provide RQ50 performance anymore, because Hutch doesn't want, because they're so inept, because they don't want to change and rebalance the game, they just kind of keep it at 50. The simple thing for you to think about is that don't trust all RQ, okay? Don't trust it. Trust your instinct. Trust the numbers that you see. Trust the MRA. Do your research on these cars, because this is not what you may think everything is, all right? So that's the next one. Don't trust all RQ. Last but not least, don't trust all surface tires. Don't. Okay? It's funny, because, like, literally giving beginner tips right now just feels like telling you guys, oh yeah, this game is just really badly balanced. I'm just realizing this. I'm having an epiphany. Like, explaining the game to newer players now is basically just explaining to them how unbalanced everything is. Oh my goodness. Yeah, don't trust all surface tire cars. All surface tire cars are some of the highest rated cars in the game. 104, 103, 99, 94. Doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't matter. You got your 97, you even got an 81, the Citroen C3, you got the Escudo. They're gonna outperform all of these cars. They're just gonna outperform all of these cars in an off-road scenario. When you go to the off-road tracks, your snow, your dirt, anything but gravel, just use the off-road tire cars. Don't get excited by an all-surface tire car. You're better off using an off-road tire car either way, okay? So obviously, like, on my Golem's account, I kind of just ignored all the all-surface tire cars that I unpacked, and I just, like, kept around, like, the off-road tire cars. If you're a brand new player, go for that RQ29 Mitsubishi Pajero with off-road tires, the Barbie one, the pink one. That's gonna save you so much time and so much stress. So, yeah, that's a lot of things to think about, right? Don't trust all surface. Don't trust four-wheel drive. Don't trust the RQs. Man, those are beginner's tips in a nutshell, isn't it? Just don't trust the damn game, man. Anyway, going back to the actual game, some other quick things that I want to talk about is another beginner mistake is over-investing. You do not want to over-invest. A lot of new players, what they do is that they will always over-invest in packs, or actually overspend on packs. So basically what they would do is that they think that they're investing in their garage by opening packs and thinking that they're going to get good cars. So whenever they get 32,000, whenever they get, 599 gold or 1,499 gold, depending if you want to open a carbon fiber or if you want to open a ceramic pack, like the moment you get enough gold or cash to open a pack in store, a lot of new players will jump straight into it. Don't do that. It's not worth it, because if you open it, you get all these cars. If you don't have enough slots, there's no place to put your new cars in. If you don't have enough cash, if you don't have enough fused material, then what's the point of getting new cars if you can't upgrade them, if you can't max them out, if you can't use them to their full potential? So what I will say is that if you're a brand new player, you get cash, you get gold, I would focus it more on slots and upgrades. I would reinvest not into packs, but I would reinvest in the cars that you currently have in your garage. Say that, in your garage, all you have right now are Mitsubishi Outlanders. They're all at 1 star and you have 32,000. I think a really big beginner mistake is spending that 32,000 on ceramic packs instead of upgrading the Mitsubishi Outlanders that you have. There's more value in upgrading your Outlanders than going to open a ceramic pack, which might just get you 5 duds. You know what I mean? And what if you want to open a ceramic pack because you're looking for fused material? Just play events. Events are going to give you rares, uncommons, and commons. Those are going to be cars that you can use for fuse. Obviously, you can open a ceramic pack when you finally have ultra rares that you want to upgrade, and then you can get super rares from ceramic packs to upgrade those ultra rares. But if you just want to get uncommons to upgrade your rares, just play the brackets. There's no point opening a ceramic pack so early on into the game, or even a carbon fiber. One last thing that I do want to talk about that beginners always tend to expect is don't trust the stats. Like, don't be foolishly optimistic. People open 2, 3, 4 carbon fibers and they look at the stats and they're just like, oh my god, I'm due for a carbon fiber. So let's go to a regular carbon fiber real quick. We're going to basic packs. We're going to go into this regular carbon fiber, right? So there's a 17% chance, for example, of getting an epic. And you think that with every carbon fiber you open, there's a higher chance of getting an epic. And that's not usually the case. Every time you open a carbon fiber, your rates refresh. It's always going to start from 17% all over again. So expect disappointment. Expect to open like 10 to 20 carbon fibers without getting anything more than an ultra rare. It happens. Sometimes you get lucky, but it is foolish to be optimistic when it comes to opening packs. Always expect the bare minimum, and if you get more than that, lucky you, it's a good day. But for the most part, if I'm opening a carbon fiber, I'm expecting an ultra rare. If I'm opening a ceramic pack, I'm expecting a super rare. You know what I mean? There's always a chance that if I do a 1 mil opening, I will just get super rares. The chances are low. The odds are in your favor to get at least an ultra rare or 2 from those, or even 3 or 4. but never expect for more, okay? So always expect for the bare minimum. You'll never be disappointed that way. And the last thing I want to talk about, which is a really big beginner mistake, is don't get overwhelmed. Top Drives is getting bigger and bigger. We're currently sitting at 4,000 cars. When I first started playing Top Drives, there was only 700, and I can make an entire new video about this, and I may, but the main thing is don't get overwhelmed, okay? You're coming to a game with over 4,000 cars. Don't try and collect everything everywhere all at once. Find a niche, find something that you like, break the number down and focus on that. If you're trying to focus on 4,000 cars all at the same time, you're going to be overwhelmed. You're going to need so much cash, so much gold. You need to open so many packs to feel satisfied. Don't. Narrow your searches and specialize. For example, 4,000 is a big number. When I started playing Top Drives, I only wanted like Porsche. Not even. I only wanted maybe like Mercedes, because when I started playing Top Drives, Dodge wasn't in the game yet. Porsche wasn't in the game yet. So if I went down to manufacturer and let's say that I only went to Mercedes, right? Suddenly you've gone from 4,000 cars to 95. Collect in batches. When you finish Mercedes-Benz, go on to something else. It will feel a lot more doable that way, and it will make your playing experience a lot less stressful. So anyway, guys, those are my tips and tricks and beginner mistakes that I feel like a lot of people make that hopefully you can avoid. But anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. Stay safe, wash your hands, and blossom out. Peace.
Bro, this song just makes me so happy.
Me too.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies. They so fine. Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies. They so fine. Sit back, relax in my Bonneville Pontiac. Hold tight all night, cruise to Jacksonville.